Yo, 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 curly-headed stickman back with another video. And before I start this video, let me just mention that I am not a terrible owner. I take good care of my dog, and this just was a freak accident, and I would never want anyone's dog to go through this. But yeah, this is going to be a short little story about the time my dog ate magic mushrooms. And for those who don't know what magic mushrooms are, they're a psychedelic drug that makes you see things, and typically are used for people looking to have like a spiritual or, meaningful experience and all that. But when a lot is consumed, let's just say it's a whole different ball game. And around that time, which was almost a year ago now that I think about it, I got a special chocolate bar from my dealer that I had way back, because back then I used to have some weird connections. Like, it was one of those plugs that would hand you your shit in like a nice little package. Like, dude was kind of fancy with it. But anyway, as you would expect, this was not your typical chocolate bar. You see, this chocolate bar had a bit of magic inside it. So I put my chocolate bar in my like little hidden pocket in my jacket. And I also took edibles that I bought too, which I actually might make another story time about that later, but I don't know, we'll see. But anyways, skip to the next day, and I'm working at my shift at Cold Stone, taking my tips and, getting ready to leave. So after all that, I began skating home, and I was mega excited to go to this one party later that night. I just had to eat some dinner, put on my fit, and leave. So I enter my front door, and immediately my dog just jumps on me. Like, dude's super excited to see me. But that's usually how Luke is. I didn't really think much of it. So I just grabbed myself a nice bowl of macaroni, and just headed to my room. But as soon as I enter my room, I'm shocked. All I knew is that I was not going to that party anymore that night. I look to my floor and see the box of chocolate torn up all over the place. 4 grams of that magic mushroom, bro. Everything began to add up in my head. So I yeet this dog into my room, lock the door, and do everything imaginable to make sure he has a good trip. My strategy was to pet him as much as I can and call him a good boy over and over. And at this point, you could tell the dog was tripping. He was panting quickly and had the biggest smile on his face. And while I'm petting him and all that, I do a bit of research on how magic mushrooms can affect dogs. And it turns out they're not lethal and actually affect dogs the same way it would for a human. And while I was doing research, I found this video by this YouTuber. He's chilling. So an hour passes and my dog is still in my bed just panting over and over, probably seeing the weirdest dog hallucinations. And he eventually tries to walk, and he starts stumbling all over the place. And I think the dog forgot how to walk. This is not a jokingly manner. I need to stop. So he kind of just lays down and does nothing but lay there with his eyes open for like an hour. And I believe my dog experienced something called ego death. And for those that don't know what ego death is, to sum it up, it's basically when you forget who you are. But what I do know is that it is not permanent. It's just what happens when you're peaking on like a high amount of psychedelics. Like, this dog probably saw God, Allah, and fucking Buddha at the same time. But when I thought this dog was at its peak, he fell asleep. And a little bit after that, I fell asleep too. And in case any of you guys are wondering how he's doing today, he's completely all good. I'll show you a video. Nothing at all. He's still my dog, Luke. Still a good boy. But a takeaway from this video is to be very cautious with psychedelics, because you never know how they can affect you. They affect everybody differently. But especially, keep them away from animals that are fat and eat everything they see.